So this here is my Tpack presentation. Prior to taking ICT in education, I had no idea what Tpack was or what it would mean for me and how I would use it in my classroom. So I hope this presentation shows my understanding and learning of the Tpack framework. This here is the Tpack framework. As you can see, there are 3 separate sections to the Tpack framework, and they all combine in the center to create one small section that is full of a lot of information about a teacher and the use of technology in the classroom. The first part of the Tpack framework that I want to talk about is the pedagogical knowledge, or PK. This is the way that a teacher approaches learning, the way that they guide learning. There are many different ways that they can do this. So although there are many different styles, I picked 3 that I thought were most telling of who I am as a person and who I want to be as a teacher. So the first style I picked was the demonstration style, and I feel like this would be effective style for me because I think it would be beneficial for students to be able to demonstrate and see what they're supposed to be doing before we send them off to do the task by themselves. The next part of the pedagogical knowledge I want to talk about is the authoritarian or lecture style. I like this part. For me, this style would be beneficial because I'd be allowed to stand at the front of the classroom instructing all students, so I can ensure all eyes are on me and I can pick out and point out and stop any disruptions that may occur in that lesson. The last part I want to talk about for my pedagogical knowledge is the delegator or group style of teaching. I feel like some students, though we can stand at the front of the class and instruct them and tell them what to do, they understand more when they get to work with a peer and get to bounce off ideas. So I'm hoping to provide some type of group work to the class that they can um, be able to interact amongst each other and learn something new. The next part of the Tpack framework I want to talk about is the technological knowledge. Um, this is basically the teacher's understanding and knowledge of technology and different ways they can use it in the classroom, as well as their ability to adapt and use new technologies in their classroom. My technological knowledge comes from my own experiences. If I'm able to play around with a program, I'm more likely to understand it. Something simple like Microsoft or Word or Excel, I've been using my whole life, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to implement those into my classroom. And I'm hoping to find some new websites that will be able to help enhance students' learning in every subject area. My next technological knowledge comes from my corresponding teacher. During my time student teaching, she transitioned from a smart board to a loft board in her classroom, or a loft TV board, and I was able to see how she was able to do that efficiently in her classroom, as well as what resources she had available to her to help her understand and use the board in the classroom. Lastly, my technological knowledge comes from demonstrating experiences myself. Like I said, um, using something like Word and PowerPoint and Excel, I've been using my whole life, so I'm more likely to use them in my classroom. But also, I grew up using programs like Excel, or not Excel, pardon me, grew up using programs like Mathletics, and there was a bunch of typing tutor websites that I used that helped really enhance my learning. Content knowledge is the next part of the framework I want to talk about, and content knowledge is the facts, theories, concepts, and principles that are taught and learned in a specific course, and how you know these facts rather than how you display these facts as a student. So my content knowledge comes from my high school courses, as well as my university, or as well as my elementary and middle years courses. I find that if something was taught to me and taught me really well and it was interesting, it was a fact that stayed with me. I took a variety of university courses throughout my time here at BU, and I have a major in physical education and a minor in geography, so I know a lot of information in those areas, but I also took a variety of courses in different areas, and I kept all the notes and all the resources available to me if I should ever need them in the future when I'm teaching. Another way I've gained content knowledge is reading the curriculum, reading books, or just watching educational programming. I find if I read through the curriculum and then I read a fact in a book or hear it on a show or something, I'm more likely to stick with that fact, research it, and possibly teach it in my classroom one day. Technological content knowledge is the next part of the framework that I want to talk about, which is combining technology knowledge and content knowledge. So it's basically using technology to teach the content that we are required to. So using a program like Mathletics or Typing Tutor might be a way that I will do this in my classroom. Yeah, so like I just said, using Mathletics or Typing Tutor is a way that I might do this in the classroom. With younger years, I might do something simple as fill in the blank notes. Whether they have to follow along and write them, they're still focusing on something with technology, or if they have to type out the notes, something like that is an easy way to implement technology in the classroom. So pedagogical content knowledge is basically using the styles of teaching that you deemed fit for yourself and using those styles to teach students the content we're required to teach them. So it's just delivering that content to them appropriately using your styles of teaching. Logical pedagogical knowledge is the next part of the Tpack framework I want to talk about, and that's just basically understanding how teaching and learning can change when different technologies are involved. So it's using technology in the classroom while being able to use your favorited style of teaching or adapting your favorited style of teaching to be able to implement technology. So altogether, they form the TPAC framework known as the Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge. Yeah, I hope you were able to understand what my TPAC knowledge is. Thank you again for watching my TPAC presentation.